Let me go ahead. I'm going to bring in John Baxter and Christie Harson. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Good to have you. Thank you for coming.
Hello.
Thank you, Chaz. Much prayers to your wife and everyone out there. We've got an amazing story for everyone today. You know, bad things happen to good people, of course, and no different in my story. I'd like to introduce VP of Marketing over here, but also this is beyond anything. This is about her story. Christie Hardison I have as a guest today. It's an amazing story of faith, devotion, family, and healing. We're all going through this individually and as families all across the country. You know, I'd like to introduce Christie Hardison here. And she has an amazing story that, you know, you just gotta hear.
Well, hello, Patriot
Welcome.
Nation. Thank you, John. Thank you, Chaz, for having me. So grateful and honored to be here, honestly. It's been a rough 2 months for me, and I understand what you're going through with all the prayers. So my heart goes out to you and your wife. I'll just start out by saying that my husband and I are strong Christians. We believe in God. We believe Jesus is the Son of God and that the Bible is true and real. And God put me in a place it started when the pandemic hit, and I was in North Carolina, and they required vaccination for my job. I was in medical device sales. And I decided not to go that route. And we ended up moving back to Kentucky to be near family. And I was able to stay home with my children. And then he again put me in a position where I was working as VP of Marketing for Anti-Aging Bed, where I met a lot of folks that know a lot of things about health and wellness. So I think there's no coincidences in life. Everything happens for a reason, and that's why I was put there. A little bit about me and my husband. I'm a nuclear medicine technologist. I worked for many years in the hospital, and I was a pharmaceutical and medical device sales rep for 10 years, going in and out of the OR. My husband is also a nurse and a respiratory therapist, and he still works in the medical device industry. So my story starts back in November when I started having some back pain. Went into the ER, said I had kidney stones, so we'll just watch them. And then December, really wasn't feeling much better, but I decided to go to the Mexico trip with you guys. Chaz, I saw you there. Started feeling a little bit worse, a lot of pain in my abdomen. I flew from there to a meeting out in Vegas, from Mexico to Vegas. I went to the A4M meeting where we had a booth set up, and I worked that meeting 12 hours a day in excruciating pain, just, almost doubled over, had to be on pain pills the entire time just to function. So when I got home, I went back to the ER, and they diagnosed me with fibroids. So, okay, that's fine. Let's set up a surgery and get these babies out, because I was in misery. So I had to wait a couple months before they could get the surgery set up. Went in on February the 8th and found out when they went in there that I did not have fibroids. I had ovarian cancer. And it was advanced. It was stage 3. It had spread to my omentum, my diaphragm, and was throughout my pelvic region. It's kind of hard for me to talk about because I'm still traumatized. When I woke up in the recovery room, and my husband had to break the news to me, it was the worst day of my life. And we just prayed. We just prayed and prayed. That's not something you want to hear. And the diagnosis led to I never asked the prognosis, but it led to the doctors telling me I would need 6 chemo treatments and I would need surgery. And then, the standard cut, burn, poison. And I took one chemo treatment in the hospital. I was in such bad shape. I had 5 liters of fluid drained off of my abdomen, and I had 2 liters of fluid in my left lung, and my left lung had collapsed. So I had a chest tube and 2 liters of fluid taken off of my lung in the hospital, and I was really out of it. I didn't have really a choice at that time because I was a sick puppy. So I said, go ahead, give me the chemo. I'll take one treatment and see where we go. And we got out of the hospital on, entered on February 8th, got out on Valentine's Day, and was pretty sick. But while I was at the hospital, before I even woke up, my husband, Phil, who's angel on this earth, contacted John and Tim and asked them, because we knew about the Tesla plasma healing energy machine, which is from the Rife technology, asked them, could we get it? And I think they overnighted it. It got there before I even woke up. So it was in my room, and it was already starting on the protocols for ovarian cancer and the frequencies that would deal with killing those cancer cells. So that was my first, God wink, that he put me in that space to know about these technologies, to meet the right people. And we took that home. We started that. We used it for 6 days in the hospital. I think we kept it running probably most of the time just to try to get a head start on it. So when I got home, my gut feeling, and I think that's your gut and your intuition is coming from God. That's the first thing you think about. And I think that's kind of your message from God when you have a gut feeling. And I had the gut feeling that I didn't really want to do 6 chemos, that wasn't going to be my path. So I started reaching out to the people that I'd met while I was working with Anti-Aging Bed, because there's a lot of holistic and integrative doctors. We work with Dr. Fabrizio Mancini, who's, associated with every TV show. And he has a network of 12,000 doctors. And people just started pouring their love on me, pouring their prayers on me. And I don't know if you want to show any of those pictures from the hospital before I go on. So the first picture, that's my family, my angel husband, Phil, and our twins that are 8 years old, Luke and Piper. And then this is me about 5 or 6, 7 days after coming home from the hospital. I lost about 20 pounds. Wow. I lost 15 or 16 pounds of fluid right off of my abdomen and out of my collapsed lung. So that's a picture of me in the hospital. It's hard for me to look at. I was one sick puppy, like I said. And then 6 weeks later, I went out for my aunt's birthday, and I was pretty much back to normal by this time. So a little bit about that. I want to tell you the game changers. If you don't mind to pull the board up, John. These are some of the puzzle pieces that I put together using the knowledge that I learned working with Anti-Aging Bed, and through some of the people that I mentioned before, started reaching out saying, you should try this or do this. And my heart was open to it. I think God speaks to us, and sometimes our heart's not open to it, and maybe we don't hear it, or we're scared. And I decided to put my faith over my fear. I was scared, and I'm still scared, but I'm not as scared as I was that day I woke up in the hospital. So a little bit of the journey. Those are my 4 pillars of life. You can go down, John. That's just showing you what's important to me and my family. We put faith over fear. We're interested in helping others. I think that this journey has changed my life, and I have a new purpose that I want to get the word out that you can take control of your health and healing. I have the main, staples that I've been integrated into my daily. First, I exercise. I put the exercise in it. I exercise. I walk outside. I try to get as much, cardio or a little bit of weights in as I can. I use the grounding bed cover. I use that so that I stay grounded while I'm sleeping. I also use the pillowcase. I've been using that. I think that's a big deal, grounding helps take down the inflammation in our body. And we all know, inflammation is kind of one of the precursors for cancer. And then I think nutrition is one of the staples. I immediately started juicing and pounding my body with nutrition. I do 4 juices a day that are cancer fighting juices with carrots, beets, garlic, turmeric. I do that 4 times a day, ginger and lemon and apple. And then the other piece that I think is really important is the high dose vitamin C IVs. I did those. I'm still doing those once a week. It's kind of like chemotherapy. It kills cancer cells. There's been a lot of research and publications out there, but unfortunately, I think big pharma is blocking that from being used. And, if you didn't know this already, oncologists do make money off of the chemo drugs. So a vitamin C IV is $300 versus $20,000 or $30,000 for a chemo treatment. I've had a lot of success. So far, I started out. Let me finish this. I do the cannabis and THC suppositories. My husband got those for me because he thought that would be a good thing for me to do for pain and anxiety and also killing cancer. And the energy machine off of the Royal Rife technology that I mentioned before that we got in the hospital, I use that every night. I put that on a protocol that I use for 5 hours. And then during the day, you just have to be within, I think 6 feet, 12 feet of the machine and you're getting the treatment. So I put it next to my bed. And then during the day, I do a little bit like support my immune system, try to get rid of candida and the Epstein-Barr virus. I'm doing those protocols because I'm trying to get to the root cause of what happened to me. I drink clean water, spring water and hydrogen water twice a day. I try to get as much of that in as I can. And I just prayer, faith over fear, breath work. I've had an angel drop into my path that I'd met at a couple of meetings. His name's Travis Steffens, and he has an app called The Breath Source. And I can't tell you how much that has been, how valuable that's been to me, because breathing, meditation, just getting your mind right. Your mindset is so important, because when you're in fear is a low vibration, and you're creating cortisol, which is bad for your body. It's going to create your dis-ease is going to manifest when you're in that state. So you have to bring your mind out of that state. And I see myself as whole. I see myself as perfect from the divine, from God. And this has just actually been a blessing in my life, because this is actually making me be the better version of myself. So like I said, I changed my diet. I started pounding my body with nutrition. I cut out sugar and did the spring water, hydrogen. Also incorporated 1 day a week the hyperbaric chamber, because cancer does not like an oxygenated environment. So I'm doing the hydrogen chamber, the high dose vitamin C's, and the Tesla plasma, and the nutrition. So if we want to talk a little bit, John, if you want to go to my story, my tumor marker for ovarian cancer when I was diagnosed was 812. The normal is 38. So I was pretty sick. I had a lot of activity going on in my body. I did do that one chemo. The chemo works in the body for about 7 to 10 days. So I had my blood checked on day 10, and the tumor marker came down to 500. So I had the chemo on February the 10th, and on February the 20th, I had it checked. It was 500. So the chemo kickstarted my healing. It got me down to 500, but I had a long way to go. And I just started implementing those puzzle pieces that I just spoke about. And then on March the 3rd, my CA 125 was 115. So it came down from 500 to 115. And I was, that's me in the hospital. That's hard to look at. Whew. That's just hard to look at. That's the energy machine. But that's me 4 weeks later, if John wants to throw that up there.
Yeah, if you want to go through those photos, Chaz, and Christy, if you want to explain.
Yeah, so that's me for about 4 or 5 weeks after I got out of the hospital. I tell you, the healing, and like I said, I give it all to God, because without him, I wouldn't have been placed in the position where I would have had the knowledge about these healing modalities and these alternative methods to work with. I'm not suggesting that people don't listen to their doctors. My doctor's kind of not happy with me right now because I refused the schedule that she wanted me the path that she wanted me to take. But I felt like as long as I was doing as well as I'm doing and I'm healing, my cancer marker went from 115, then it went to 40, and 38 is normal. And then the last check about 2 weeks ago, I was at 21.1. That's below the normal level that you're supposed to have in your body. That's me last week at the beach with my family and being grateful to God because I am healed by the grace of God. I had a CAT scan before I went to the beach, and they used the term, the radiologist used the term interval resolution on my CAT scan, meaning what was there was no longer detectable on the scan. That doesn't, in my mind, that doesn't happen with one chemo. That's me at the beach last week, just being grateful and thankful that I'm still here. I think God has extended my days and given me a new purpose. He's extended my days. There's my graph that shows I went from 812. That one goes down to 40, but I had it checked at an outside lab and paid out of pocket for it to see what it was, and it was 21.1 the last time I had checked. After that, this graph shows the 40. My oncologist had never seen a person turn around that quickly, and she gave all the glory to the chemo, in which I knew she would. But after I did my digging and my research, I know that doesn't normally happen with one chemo. I'm not going to say it would never. And I would never, recommend anybody to go against their doctor's orders. That just didn't feel right to me. That didn't feel right to my gut. And here I am today, and I feel like I have new purpose. I want to help people. I want to show people, if they are interested, that there are alternative ways you can work and heal your body. And God has given us a body that, if we treat it right, it will work properly. We just have to know the right things and the ways to do that. So that's basically my story in a nutshell, guys.
Wow, that is incredible. That is incredible. I do have one question for you, Christy. So you did only one round of chemo, correct?
That's right.
Right. Okay. Was there any side effects just from that chemo only?
I was so sick, Chaz. I was so sick in the hospital. I don't even remember them giving me the chemo.
Oh, wow.
When I got home, I had a little bit of an upset stomach, and I noticed a little neuropathy in my feet, when I walked around for that following week. That luckily went away. But I just had one treatment. I think they're cumulative. So after you get, the second, third, fourth, fifth, I think, in my mind, it's damaging the immune system every time. And then once you get finished with your 6 treatments, and then if you have a reoccurrence, you're either, choose that, they keep going with the chemo, try different chemos. I don't like that path. I didn't like the sound of that.
Right.
That's just where I was. That was where my heart was. I think I always, maybe in the back of my mind, knew that that's what I was going to do. And that's why I started the love for the biohacking industry and the health and wellness.
Amen. John, anything you want to add? Or?
Well, I'd say our company is founded on this same pain to purpose principle, over 60 some technologies for miracles to happen. We've had quite a few miracles happen, and that was the whole purpose and intention behind our company. And it's just great and remarkable that people are starting to understand this. God put me on this path quite a long time ago, and it's just doing God's work, helping as much as I can with the technologies we have, educating people on this different stuff that helped me as well. And it's these types of stories is all the passion, enthusiasm, you name it, even intensity to get this out to people that are suffering. And suffering is no bueno, basically, no good. And if you go to that level, have a resource that can alleviate a lot of these types of situations. It goes back to education. Christie is formally trained and knows all this stuff in the traditional, and even took a little bit of just understanding to incorporate what is natural. And this stuff is doing wonders out there. So, this is the machine that we always talk about. It all converges at the mattress when you sleep. So it's really a technology that you can go to bed on, use it, and whether it's cancer, leukemia, different type of cancer, Lyme's disease, Parkinson's, major issues, and maybe not so issues that may not seem like a big issue, like depression. It's just as bad. So all these things can be addressed and simplified, and that's what we try to do too, is just to keep it simple so that you understand and you've got people around you that care. And places like PPN, of course, we're not allowed to get this message out anywhere else. So this is a great format to get information out to everyone at home.
Amen. And by the way, guys, if you will go to antiagingbed.com, and you can use discount code PPN to check out some of these awesome products, which I love. The one is my favorite. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. The one for me is my favorite, especially having football injuries and things like that. But I got a feeling I'm going to be using a whole lot more as well. Of course, obviously, the office setup as well. It worked pretty good for grounding on that. Christie, powerful story. I mean, absolutely incredible. John, as always, thank you so much for your company. Thank you so much for what you're doing for humanity. Because right now, we need all the help we can get right now with the way things are in the world. And if we can just give that just little bit of good, wholesome healing that this world really needs right now, especially, all I can say is thank you for everything you're doing. And I know that you're, like you said, you're being censored at every corner, at every turn, but you're a fighter. That's why you took on the companies that you did and win. And just want to tell you thank you. And thank you guys for stopping by.
We should all be inspired by the health that we have. Any day, at any time, something major could happen. So be blessed and grateful for every moment. And from there, when you do run into stuff, do your research, and you'll always know that there's many different things. And as she said, it all is quantitative, cumulative. And from there, you just increase your health slowly. So one foot in front of the other until you start feeling good. And, stay inspired by this story. This is an amazing story. And if your work and mission is helping people, that's what we have here. It's a good group of people, and that's what our mission is. So,
amen, guys. God bless you, Christie. God bless you, John. Thank you guys for stopping by.
Thank you for having us.
Definitely be in touch again. We want to get an update as well.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
God bless you guys. Take care.
God bless you.
See you.